Hey there, hello, ho there. It's Jeff Cutter Diving, welcoming you to the second round preview, aka the first round review of the NCAA SuperCup. This is 64 teams based on simulations and real life stuff. Got into a tournament to decide who's the real champ, who's the champion. So basically, 64 teams happened, but here's the weird thing: this year's different because of COVID. So basically, to save on travel, they had little 4-team mini pods, 16 mini pods. So basically, one stadium would host the 4 teams, and then, they would host like regional finals, if you will. So basically, I went over at, hopefully you saw my preview video. But anyway, the round of 32 has been set. But I got to do the round of 64 review first. Let's start in the Sugar Bowl bracket with the number 1 overall seed, Notre Dame. They were at home. They got lucky. They got their games played at Notre Dame Stadium. And on Saturday, Notre Dame took on Memphis, who years ago, like 4 or 5 years ago, made a miracle run that almost got them to the semifinals, but they lost to Brigham Young in the group final. But Notre Dame beat Memphis 22-9. So no big problems there for Notre Dame. They will face the number 8 seed, that being Nebraska. Not the overall seed, but number 8 in the Sugar Bowl bracket. Nebraska, who needed overtime to take down number 9 South Carolina, 17-14. Huge win for Nebraska. Nebraska and Notre Dame, this is going to be a tough matchup. And now the 15-2 matchup, 15-2 and 10-7. The number 2 seed in the Sugar Bowl bracket, Indiana, took on Mississippi State with their games at Ford Field. Indiana shocked everyone, but including themselves, by beating Mississippi State by a touchdown, 21-14. They will face Bowling Green, who shocked everyone, coming back from a 13-point fourth quarter deficit to take down Empire State 14-13. So Bowling Green and Indiana, one of those two schools, are going to the Sweet 16. Indiana's not really much of a football school, more of a basketball school. And Bowling Green, well, they're a MAC team. Nobody gives them credit. The good news for Bowling Green is that Indiana will be without their great strong safety, Quinn Buckner. And yes, Buckner did play both football and basketball. Buckner's out to the semifinals at worst. Wow. The 3 seed was Georgia, and they got to host their games. They took on number 14 Nevada. Well, the Indiana, Mississippi State, Bowling Green Empire game were on Wednesday. On Saturday, Georgia took care of Nevada 20-7. No big deal for the defending champs. They will now take on Pitt, who has the 11 seed, took down number 6 Louisiana Tech closely, 17-14. So it's Pitt and Georgia. This reminds me of the Sugar Bowl back in the 1983 Sugar Bowl, when basically it was Marino versus Herschel Walker. But yeah, Pitt and Georgia will face each other in the round of 32. Oh, by the way, Bowling Green does not have Cedric Benson, their running back, for the next few games. So Bowling Green will be a good running back. The 13-4 and 12-5 matchups in the Sugar bracket were in Oregon. The home stadium Oregon team on Monday defeated Virginia Tech, even though they were the lower seed, 20-3. They will take on Penn State, who crushed the number 4 seed Ohio Bobcats 37-14. Now you're thinking, Ohio's number 4. How? Well, because they won the MAC, they're guaranteed a top 4 seed in the tournament. So basically, Ohio got crushed by Penn State. So Penn State, Oregon, at Oregon Stadium, decide who gets it through. Sorry about that meowing in the background. It's my cat. So anyway, the Fiesta Bowl bracket, the 1 seed Wyoming Cowboys, who somehow got to be a 1 seed because there was no other good number 1s. On Tuesday, they took on Louisiana Lafayette, who lost on a last-second Hail Mary to Pitt. Well, Lafayette got revenge, kind of. They won 9-3, kind of a pathetic game if you ask me. Lafayette will face the Gators of Florida, a 9 seed, who needed a last-second field goal to take down Brigham Young in Las Vegas, taking off a lot of Mountain West fans. So Florida will take on Lafayette. Lafayette's tight end is out for the tourney, so basically Lafayette has to find another tight end. The number 2 seed was the Papa John's Bowl. That was on Sunday, against UAB, home stadium, kind of, because Papa John's Bowl at the UAB took on number 15 Kent and took down the Golden Flashes 17-7, tight one. They will now take on the number 7 seed Liberty Flames, who took down number 10 Navy 10-3 in a kind of a pathetic way. But Liberty, first tournament appearance and first victory for them. So Liberty will take on UAB. The problem for UAB is that they've lost their tight end to the quarterfinal and their middle linebacker for the tourney. So UAB, that's a 2 seed. Shock. Well, they are in trouble. Liberty might actually pull off an upset and get to the Sweet 16. On Wednesday, the number 3 seed number 3 seed Miami Hurricanes went to Honolulu, take on number 14 Troy, and beat them 14-3. They will take on the number 6 seed Cincinnati Bearcats, who took down Florida Atlantic 21-7. Miami takes on Cincy. Clinton Portis is out for a few games for Miami, so their running attack is not so good. And just yesterday in Washington at Husky Stadium, number 13 seed Arkansas took on number 4 Oklahoma. Arkansas, the all-time tournament champions, shocking everyone, took it to overtime against Oklahoma, and they won 20-17. Can you believe it? Oklahoma shocked. They're out in the first round by Arkansas. Wow. Didn't see that coming. Arkansas will now deal with the hometown Washington Huskies, who took down North Texas 13-3. So it's going to be Jeff Diamond's Arkansas Razorbacks against Jason Lindgren's Washington Huskies in the Fiesta Bowl bracket. Wow. In the round of 32. No injuries to report in that matchup. The Rose Bowl bracket, the number 1 seed Ohio State, they were hosting it and they were hoping to go to the Rose Bowl. They crushed NC State 42-7. They will now take on number 8 West Virginia, who shocked the defending runners-up Auburn 14-11. Auburn had chances, but they fouled it up. Cam Newton threw an interception with like 15 seconds left. That was on Saturday, by the way. Also on last Saturday, number 2 Bama took down Hawaii in Atlanta 39-0. Talk about your blowouts. Bama did a big blowout at Ohio State. They will take on Georgia Southern, who in their first ever, I think this was second or third game, but they beat Army 7-3. Yeah, it was pathetic, 7-3. So Georgia Southern will take on Bama. The good news for the Eagles is that Bama will not have Julio Jones for the game due to injury. So thankfully, they might be able to stop Bama. Who knows? On Thursday at USC Stadium at the LA Memorial Coliseum, USC number 3 hosting number 14 Central Michigan, beat them by 20-10. They will take on Air Force, who shocked everyone as the 6th seed to beat number 11 Louisville at 17-7. So Air Force, basically, remember, they took down Texas in the all-time tourney first round. So now USC Air Force. The bad news about USC is that they don't have Keyshawn Johnson playing at wide receiver in the game, and O.J. Simpson is gone for a few games. So basically, USC's running attack has to be better off. And also on Thursday in Baylor, Colorado took down Marshall 21-14. But the other game was a classic, a shootout, a Texas-sized shootout with 2 Texas-based teams, Baylor and Houston, as they went to overtime. Baylor getting a touchdown in overtime to win 34-31. No injuries to report. So Colorado will face Baylor. Baylor is the worst of the 2 seeds with Colorado, but because it's their turf, they'll get the home game. And in the Orange Bowl bracket, now the Rose Bowl bracket only had 2 upsets, as Colorado and Baylor upset Marshall and Houston, technically, but the 5 and 4 seeds. The Orange Bowl bracket, I'll tell you, is basically the Cinderella bracket. Only 2 of the top 8 seeds survived. Number 1, Clemson on Friday took on Iowa State at the Independence Bowl in Shreveport. Iowa State had no prayer, 28-7. However, LSU, they were the 9th seed, they upset, quote unquote, Utah, number 8 Utah, 21-14. So it will be LSU Clemson in the second round. Yikes. Number 2 seed Oklahoma State on last Tuesday was supposed to win at the Sun Bowl in El Paso against UTEP. Well, UTEP has their stadium. Oklahoma State thought they had it. They choked. They lost 24-14. Who saw that coming? I didn't. They will now take on Northwestern, who, of course, crushed my team, Canada State, 42-13. UTEP will be the home team despite them having the worst of the 2 seeds because, it's their stadium, whatever. On Monday, all the way back on Monday, the number 4 seed App State went to Texas A&M's Kyle Field to take on Cleveland, who were making their maiden voyage in this tournament, and lost 14-0. Cleveland shocked everyone, including themselves. So the Cleveland University team will take on Texas, who took down their rivals, Texas A&M, 14-11. It was a tight one. So Texas took down Texas A&M. And yes, they could face each other in the first round because A&M is in the SEC nowadays. I'm using nowadays. So Texas will now take on Cleveland in the second round. Good news for Cleveland, though, is Texas doesn't have Ricky Williams for that one game. And then on Friday, the 3 seed UCF Golden Knights took on number 14 UCLA at the Cap One Bowl, kind of in their backyard in Orlando. It was a fun back and forth game that actually went to triple overtime, and UCF won 30-27 finally. They will take on Iowa, who took down number 6 Boise 17-9. So basically, by seed numbers, Clemson number 1 and number 3 UCF were the only teams that were the home teams and won. Northwestern, LSU, UTEP, Cleveland, Texas, and Iowa all won as being part of the road team, quote unquote. So now, here comes the schedule. So the schedule is this. So on Wednesday, in a couple of days' time, on December 16th, the Orange Bowl bracket will set up their 4 winners and all that. First at 12 o'clock Eastern Time, Iowa will take on Central Florida. That's the Cap One game. At 3:30, it will be Northwestern taking on UTEP at the Sun Bowl. 7 o'clock will be LSU Clemson from the Independence Bowl. And at 10 Eastern Time, well, it would be 10 o'clock, but I think they changed it to 9 o'clock. Cleveland will take on Texas. On Thursday, the Rose Bowl will decide its 4 competitors. At noon Eastern will be West Virginia against Ohio State at Ohio State. 3:30, we'll see Air Force take on University of Southern California at USC Memorial Coliseum. 7 o'clock, we'll see Georgia Southern take on Bama at the Peach Bowl. Georgia Southern will have some fans because, it's Georgia. And at 9 o'clock Eastern Time will be Colorado versus Baylor at Baylor Stadium. On Friday, it will be the Sugar Bowl bracket. Indiana will face Bowling Green at noon Eastern Time from Detroit's Motor City Bowl. At 3:30, it's Nebraska Notre Dame from Touchdown Jesus Notre Dame Stadium. At 7 o'clock from the University of Georgia, the Bulldogs will host Pitt. And at 10 o'clock, it'll be Penn State versus Oregon. And on Saturday, the Fiesta Bowl bracket sets up their 4 teams. First of all, will be Cincy Miami from Hawaii at noon. At 3:30 would be Florida versus Louisiana Lafayette from Las Vegas. At 7 Eastern from Papa John's and UAB, it will be the UAB Liberty. And at 10 o'clock, Arkansas will take on Washington. Key game there. So when you look at the round of 32, it's like, which games are basically going to be blowouts? The experts have predicted that Iowa, UTEP, Clemson, and Texas are all going to win. So UTEP might be the heavy Cinderella team from the Orange Bowl. They say the Rose Bowl will be Ohio State, USC, Bama, and Baylor. They're saying that there are 4 major favorites. That's maybe Ohio State, West Virginia would be the closest of the 4. Who knows? Friday, it's a pick'em between Indiana and Bowling Green. Notre Dame and Nebraska is a pick'em too because, Nebraska, you can't. Pitt and Georgia, Georgia is slightly favored over Pitt, and Penn State's slightly favored over Oregon. It's too close to go. Friday will probably be the day that, anything can happen. Who can win? And on Saturday, Miami's heavily favored over Cincy. Florida is heavily favored over Lafayette. UAB is favored over Liberty, and Arkansas is favored over Washington. So the round of 32 has been set. The Sweet 16 will start on Tuesday, a week from tomorrow, Tuesday, the 22nd of December. Wednesday, the 23rd, will be also some games, 4 games per day. On Boxing Day will be the quarterfinals in New Orleans, Pasadena, Miami, and Tempe, Arizona. And then the Final 4 will be in Dallas on December 30th, and the championship on Saturday, January the 2nd. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day. That is the round of 32 preview. Goodbye.